Hello, thank you very much for tuning in. It's Stuart here. I'm a classical record collector first and foremost, and I've been a dealer in the past, and I'm also selling records at the moment. I've been out of the business for a long time. What I'm going to be talking about in this video is my record shop, which was in Nottingham. It was called Simply Classical. I dealt only in classical music. So I'm going to be talking about what set of circumstances led me to open a shop and what was the experience like of actually running my own record shop. Some of you may be interested, and if you're interested in that, keep listening. If not, then obviously I guess you've clicked on the wrong video and you should have read the title. So let me just have a drink of this hot chocolate. It's what's the time here? It's nearly 11 o'clock British summertime, so it's quite late at night. Now, let me tell you that I opened my shop in 1992 in Nottingham on Mansfield Road. For those of you who know Nottingham, where the Victoria Centre is Mansfield Road. If you keep going up and towards sort of out of town, on the left is probably the most interesting set of shops you will see. There is a up to the top of the hill where these shops are located, mostly specialist shops. There are, of course, convenience stores, etc. But I can tell you that when I was there, there were two record shops. There was my shop, and there was a shop called Good Vibrations, run by a very nice lady who kept cats in the window. Just a bit of trivia there. Obviously, she's not there anymore. What else was there? There was a second-hand bookshop. There was a shop that sells Scottish food produce. They would get deliveries every morning of Scotch pies. There was a shop called Salim, which sold mainly sort of Middle Eastern type delicacies. There was Dave Mann Music, which obviously was not a record shop, but they sold instruments, guitars, violins, etc. I'm not sure if they're still there, but they were there a very long time. What else? There was a computer shop. There was a shop that sold terrariums, unbelievably, for a few years. There was a shop that was for the National Association of Shopkeepers. It was an unbelievable, and there were like Chinese restaurants and Italian restaurants, and obviously it was an unbelievable mix. And it was so interesting to walk from the bottom to the top, which was about maybe half a mile from the bottom to the top, of nothing but shops all the way. Interesting shops. It was a really good sort of walk, particularly on a nice warm Saturday. You could walk up all the way and you'd be bound to stop at one or two shops. I went there fairly recently. To be fair, it's still not too bad, but a lot of the more interesting shops have disappeared. No record shops, no computer shops. The terrarium shop, of course, is gone, and lots of interesting shops have gone. So it's not as good as it was, but it's probably still worth a walk up there. So my background was that I'd been in the home computer business in the 80s, originally in the early 80s when the Spectrums and ZX81s and VIC-20s came out. I was hiring out computer software, yeah, as somebody who was still very young, like 20, 21, 22 years old. I was I was in the computer software business and I wasn't doing too badly. Eventually that grew into retail, full-scale retail, and I had a shop in Nottingham, also on Mansfield Road, further up, and I had another shop in Derby, so I was doing well in the home computer business. My father and my brother were working with me, and around about 1991, I started realizing that home computers were well on their way out and that PCs were going to completely take over and obliterate everything. There were Amigas and Atari STs. The market was changing so much, but eventually PCs and Apples just blew everything else away. Consoles came in and everything changed. I don't know. I didn't really move with the times. I'd done well out of home computers and I was ready for a change. I was ready for a change, so I left my retail concern with my father and my brother and said, look, it's yours, guys. Do what you can with it. Make it last as long as you can. And I'm moving on. I'm doing other things. Now, in the meantime, of course, I discovered vinyl. I was already a classical music fan and I had a good CD collection. I then discovered vinyl in quite a big way. I sort of ditched my CD collection, sold it off, focused on vinyl, built up a collection. I was visiting dealers like Roger McNichol in Birmingham and other dealers as well, plus car boot sales. I was trying to get my hands on vinyl however I could. Okay, I built up a collection of about 2,000 LPs in literally a couple of years because I had the money to do it. I'd done very well in my computer business, and yeah, I mean, I had no problems at all. I got myself a system. Originally, I had an LP12, a Lynn Sondek, and I had a Croft pre-power combination, big KEF 1042 speakers. I had a fair system, not a top of the range, but you know, it was pretty good. Yeah, so I was sort of living the dream with vinyl. I had a detached house. I could play it as loud as I wanted. I had a dedicated listening room, the whole lot. And I thought that, well, I've been buying vinyl. I've seen dealers. I've seen how they're set up. I'm so keen on classical music that I think I would enjoy being a dealer. I think I would enjoy being selling these items. And as a bonus, I'm also interested in the product. I could cream off the records that I'm interested in for my own collection. What better thing could there be? Being involved in a business that's also your hobby. And I thought the obvious thing to do is to open a shop. Now, Roger McNichol in Birmingham, some of you may remember his name. He used to advertise in Gramophone for records. He operated from his flat. He had a big flat in a kind of, I don't know, a big Victorian semi or something. And so, yeah, he operated from his flat and he had people visiting him, which is, you know, a good idea. But I wanted to have a retail premises. I'd been in retail already and I'd found retail could be very satisfying, could be exciting as well. So I decided that, well, I can open a record shop. I had the money to do it. I had plenty of money to do it and do a really good job of it as well. So I started looking around where to open a shop. And immediately I thought, Mansfield Road, that is the place for this kind of shop. There's already a record shop there called Good Vibrations. And there was a shop to let just down the road. I went to see it was a small shop. It was something like, well, let me see. Probably not too much bigger than your standard sort of newsagent size shop. So, but it was big enough. It was like, let me see, 20 feet to the back. And it was about maybe 14 feet frontage. So not massive, but I thought it would be adequate to create a good retail outlet for the product. So I inquired about the rent, etc., found the agent, told him what I wanted to do, and he said, yep, that's fine. Signed up on a lease, which actually was quite a reasonable rent. I mean, compared with a lot of the rents you see, it was very, very reasonable. I think it was something in the region of, I think it worked out at about £80 a week, which is like quite small money where retail rent is concerned. But Mansfield Road was not a primary trading area, you understand. It was a secondary trading area, so one would not expect to pay big rent. Now, across the road from me, where I was going to open my shop, was a shop called Richer Sounds, and you all know about Richer Sounds. They sell discounted hi-fi, so I thought this is a good location. So I'll have people coming out of Richer Sounds having bought their hi-fi, and they'll see my shop. What could be better than that? So I must say that my family, when I told them I'm opening a record shop, they said, why? You know, CDs are in and records are out. Why are you opening a record shop? I said, well, hold on. I'm going to open a record shop selling classical only. but I'm also going to sell CDs. So I'm going to sell secondhand CDs and used vinyl and tapes, videos, all of that. They did not think that this would be a viable business idea. I don't know why. They didn't have any confidence in it, but hey, I'm the one that's putting the money down, so obviously I'm never one to be deterred from following through with what I think is probably a good business plan because people around me are making negative vibes. If I believe in it and I've done my research and I've got a good sort of intuition for it, then I'll go for it, as I have done. I haven't always succeeded. I've had one or two flops, but I was determined that this wasn't going to be a flop. By the way, I'll just say this is going on a lot longer than I thought. This video is not going to last more than 15 minutes. So this is going to be part one. I'm going to do part two, not tomorrow, maybe in a couple of days. So yeah, I had to choose a name for the shop, and I don't know where I got the name from, but I think I'd seen a business name, you know, Simply Something, Simply. I'd seen this name before somewhere, and I thought, well, Simply Classical sounds kind of catchy, and it describes what I do, that I only sell classical music. And I thought 2 words, easily memorable, so I decided to choose that name. And I then had the job of fitting out the shop, designing it. At the time, I was going out with a young lady who was very creative and artistic. We, between us, designed the whole shop. She did the color scheme and a lot of the design. She designed the window display. And between us, we made a really top-class job of designing that shop. Sad to say, I can't believe this, that shop was open from 1992 to 2004. I have not got one single photograph. I had one photo of the display, the window display. I don't know where it is. I can't find it. And I had one or two other photos of the interior. I can't find those either. And I can't believe it, but my father, who eventually bought the shop from me, didn't take any photos, and I've got no photos of that amazing shop. It's just unbelievable. It didn't occur to me at the time, for goodness sake, take some photos of this shop. But to be fair, I didn't have photos of my computer shops either. So I'm sorry, it didn't occur to me at the time. So if you open a shop, for goodness sake, take some photos of it and preserve them for your own personal history. Maybe somebody out there has got a photo of my shop. I'd love to have a photo of my shop. You know, it's unlikely that any of you guys will know anybody. But if somebody's got a photo of, I think it was 93 Mansfield Road, Nottingham, Simply Classical, open between 1992 and 2004, I would absolutely love to have it. So yeah, so we fitted it all out. I knew somebody who was a joiner. He did all the joinery inside and everything. It took, I don't know, it took about a month of working on this shop to finally get it ready and for stocking up. Okay, so I'm going to end there, unfortunately, because I've got to talk about how I got the stock to put in the shop, and obviously how I promoted it, and the grand opening. Did it live up to my expectations? What happened on the first day? I've got all that to talk about, and then of course the day-to-day running of the shop, what that was like, the characters who came in, etc., and why eventually I decided to sell it. So I'm going to talk about that next time. If you're interested, tune in. So this is part one. I'll do part two. I might do part two tonight, actually, but I don't want this video to be more than 15 minutes. So I'm going to go and upload it. So thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.